Where does the four-wheel underground suspension shine more? Creeping, crawling on the Rubicon, or going crazy fast out on Johnson Valley desert floor?
Yeah, good question. It honestly does great in both scenarios. Whether I'm going through the Rubicon or doing 50 to 60 miles an hour through washes at Johnson Valley, it's really impressive what the suspension does. I think that goes a lot to show how well it's engineered, how well the roll center is controlled, and how well the geometry all goes together. No matter what I'm doing, I feel stable. I feel predictable. It's fantastic.
That makes a lot of sense because they are designed to be great on and off road.
That's true. I do drive the rig to and from the trails as well. And I noticed on tight, windy mountain roads, I don't feel like I'm throwing the body off the chassis anymore. I just have one question.
What's that?
When are we putting some four-wheel underground parts underneath Samantha?
Soon. Very soon, and I'm excited to do so. And if you are looking to move your vehicle from leaf springs to a linked suspension kit, make sure to check out fourwheelunderground.com.
Hey, Jimmy, do you use any mapping software when you go off-roading?
Yeah, I use Onyx Off-Road.
Oh, nice. I do too. Have you been seeing the updates they've been sending out recently?
Yeah, the maps are changing. They're getting rid of that green spaghetti, and they're changing it up to something a little bit more colorful.
Yeah, as much as I love the neon spaghetti that was on there, they're actually making a really cool update that's going to make all the trails colored based on difficulty ratings, which makes it easier to explore the trails around you.
Yeah, I know how much you love the neon green, but I think this is a good feature for them because now not only can you find a trail near you, but you can actually get an idea of its difficulty.
It is. It's a really nice change. That's one of the reasons why I like Onyx Off-Road, and I've been enjoying using them, is they're always looking for ways to make the app better. They're always rolling out updates, which all of them just makes things easier for when you're going out and exploring the trails around you.
So if you want to go out and explore and find trails near you, make sure to download the app Onyx Off-Road. Welcome all to the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic weekends are in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode of the SnailTrail4x4 podcast is Mr. Jimmy Jett on this lovely Thursday. Jimmy, how are you doing? I am doing good, and I am doing better.
Better? You know more crystals?
There's still a little swelling.
Okay.
But about a week later here, and I'm starting to be able to walk normal again.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Probably in a day or so, I'll be back to normal.
Nice.
Yep, I've been double dosing my tart cherries.
Yeah.
And supposedly after a little, Google or internet doctor searching stuff, supposedly turmeric is good for inflammation. So I started taking some turmeric pills as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So
isn't that something that's like in
Indian food?
Oh, no.
It's like almost the yellow color for Indian food. Is
what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something that tastes like black licorice.
I don't know.
There's a whiskey that it's an additive to whiskey as well. It tastes like black licorice. God damn it.
Absinthe.
Turmeric. God dang it. Whatever. Anyways,
absinthe almost tastes like black licorice.
That's not what I'm thinking of, though. Oh. Anyways, so this is a Thursday episode. So Jimmy and I have been up to some fun things, sort of. I don't know. A little bit fun.
I have been.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
Good job. Congratulations.
I told you part of the weekend. I didn't tell you the good part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Though you told me the bad part?
That bad part was still pretty funny.
It's still, it's entertaining value.
Yeah.
It's like watching train wrecks.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we got some fun stuff for you guys. I got to do some work on another person's vehicle a little bit this weekend. And then I don't know what Jimmy did. He's keeping it from me. He's refusing to tell me. So, well, he has a secret apparently.
I do.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
I have two, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What do you? Oh, I know it's your other one. Okay. You are going to be getting back from Tennessee tomorrow.
Yeah. And then we'll hear about that secret next week.
I can't say anything until 6 a.m. on the 26th.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Did you get more details about everything since last time we talked?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
I got a whole, stat sheet, fact sheet, our itinerary and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
Okay. I'm excited to hear about it. So we talked a little bit about that last episode, last Thursday's episode, I should say. And so if you guys are curious what we're talking about, we're teasing about what Jimmy's secret is about, go back and listen to last Thursday's episode. You'll hear all about what he can tell you. Today, we are in the second half of the month. So we get to chat about some giveaways that we're going to be ending relatively soon. So if you guys are interested in winning a fun little set of gear wrench tools, then you got to go over to iRate4x4 and sign up for the giveaway tier under the SnailTrail4x4 forum. So all your sign up options are there. You can access on mobile, computer, whatever you want, and get in for the giveaway. Because there's some really cool tools that we have in our possession that you have a chance to win for the month of August.
Absolutely. And if you want a chance to win some tires from Yokohama, then you need to go over to iTunes or Apple Podcast, whatever they call it, and leave a review under the Snail Trail 4x4 forum. We're not biased. We don't care if it's a 1-star or a 5-star. All you do is leave a review, and you will be eligible to win a set of tires from Yokohama Tire once we reach 750 reviews.
Sweet.
When we get to 700 reviews, though, we're going to be giving away a swag pack that's going to have some Morphlate stuff in it, some Snail Trail 4x4 stuff in it, and it's going to have an elite membership from Onyx Off-Road.
That's super cool. I'm excited. I love my Onyx stuff. Use it all the time.
Me too.
It works really well. They've completely updated and revamped the UI, so it is a lot easier to use now than it was in the past if people are curious and you had complaints about Onyx and the user interface. So check it out. Give it another shot. They definitely updated it, so it's a lot easier to see what's going on now than it used to.
There's also, is there a new Onyx out? I'm getting these ads. I think it's called Onyx Hunt.
Oh, no, they started as a hunting platform.
Right. Okay.
And then the off-road side of it stemmed off of the hunting side of things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember that, but I was like, man, they're sure pushing this Onyx Hunt thing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they have a huge new update on the Onyx Hunt.
Possibly. I mean, if they did a big update on the off-road, I don't see why they wouldn't have done one for the hunt side, too.
Because that's flooding my emails. I get one a day almost, it seems like, from Onyx Hunt.
That's funny.
I don't know why. But, yeah, so they've got a lot of things going on over there, which is really great. So we're going to have to get them back on the horn. We'll talk to them. We'll see what's new, what's coming up, what's all the updates. We'll talk about that all.
Cool. Yeah, one of the things I really like that they're doing is obviously the build challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, and the whole concept behind the build challenge is they're like, hey, we're going to give these really smart, really creative people money to do something smart and creative with, right? And they're kind of giving them pretty free reign to do whatever they want.
Seems like it. People are building some wild things.
Right? And so we've been going over that build challenge and interviewing a lot of the challengers and the builds that they're doing. So that has been a lot of fun. But I just learned that they're also doing sort of like an ultimate adventure style trip for overlanding, though.
Okay.
Throughout Utah soon.
Oh, interesting.
And so what they're doing is they're paying all the expenses for some of these really smart, creative overland influencers to come out and go on this week-long trip through Utah.
Hey, I want to go.
Right? I was like, where's our invite, man?
I'm not an overlander, but
I'll bring the 350 in a cab over. Okay.
I'll bring Bobcat in a rooftop tent.
Right. Go do some rock landing.
Yeah.
So anyways, I like that they are.
I'll even put 35s on.
Yeah.
Will that make me fit in more?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look kind of goofy in Bobcat on 35s, I think, but.
Yeah, but all overlanders look goofy, so.
True. But no, I really like what they're doing because you'll see a lot of companies doing marketing content and video content stuff that's very much focused on their product and what they're doing. And what Onyx is doing is enabling and encouraging people to do what they already do.
Yeah.
And they're not really putting a lot of stipulations on. They're kind of giving them free reign. They're just kind of like, we're here to support you to do what you want to do. And I really love that concept of marketing and advertising. So
Right.
yeah.
I think it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. It'd be like Snail Armor saying, hey, I want to have a cook-off, but you have to do it on the tailgate.
Yeah.
You cook whatever you want.
Yep.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Let's see how many courses you can make.
Yeah.
I want to be a judge.
Yeah, right.
But all you have to do is, do it on a tailgate.
That's actually a really good idea. Maybe we should do that out in the parking lot, in the warehouse parking lot.
Just invite all the influencers that have a Snail Armor to come over and do a cook-off. I'm down.
Yeah.
But then I have to pay for everybody's food and stuff.
That is
huh?
true.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be I need to check my marketing budget.
Yeah. So anyways, kudos to Onyx for doing some cool stuff and kind of taking a different route to marketing and advertising. I think it's pretty rad. So there's that going on. Check them out. Yokohama stuff, as always, doing a set of tires for you guys at 750 reviews. So make sure you guys are going over to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and leaving that review for the chance to win a set of tires. What else?
We have the
we got for
Walter
giveaway stuff?
giveaway going on. That's
right.
still always going on until the end of November. If you go into your local welding supply store, or maybe some of the big box stores also will carry some of these products. If you end up seeing a Walter, Drillco, or Triumph product, snap a photo of it and then send that photo into Walter. And then I think you also have to send in a receipt. I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe you have to send in a receipt to them as well. And then you get entered to win a 2-year lease on a 2024 F-150 Tremor. Yeah. Thank you. I almost said another version. Yeah. An F-150 Raptor. But Tremor edition. And then they're doing different giveaways every month leading up to that. So the sooner you get in for that, the more chances you have to win more things, which is really great. And then we're doing something similar, but ours ends at the end of this month. So you have to get in by the end of the month, and you just send us a photo of the same stuff that you send them. And we give you a few different points for different things that are going on. And then we're going to choose a winner at the end of the month. Or the beginning of next month, really.
Yeah, beginning of September. We'll do it with the FNGs and the August Gear Wrench Tool winners. So.
Yep.
Cool stuff from Walter. Make sure you guys are checking that out. Let us know if you have any questions on it. The stuff... Ignore that. On the camera, people that are watching the camera, ignore that. We're good. We're professionals here. We're still waiting on Walter to ship out all of the stuff from the tool month. Just FYI.
Yes.
So we keep getting told it's close to shipping, but they're also. Here's a pet peeve right now. From
you got a rant?
Just a rant in the tool and it seems to be specifically the tool industry, commercial stuff industry.
Okay.
I ordered some swamp coolers for the warehouse.
Yeah.
Kind of at the beginning of summer, midsummer, I guess. It was
summer.
Early-ish summer, right? Yeah. And I was told it would be 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Things were in stock. And it'd be about 2 to 3 weeks, and then things would be shipping and blah, blah, blah. So I waited about 4 to 5 weeks, called back, was like, hey, I haven't heard an update. What's going on? They're like, oh, things are back ordered. It's going to be another 2 to 3 weeks. I'm like,
but
you told me when I ordered it was in stock. They're like, yeah, sorry, something happened. They had an issue with some part or something, and it's now backward, so it's going to be a little longer. I'm like,
our numbers were off.
Our numbers were off.
What it sounds like.
That's really what I think they're coming down to.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I called him back after 2 weeks. I was like, hey, I'm just looking for an update. I was still, 1 week out-ish on it. And he goes, no, it's backward to the 2 to 3 weeks. I'm like, what?
So they don't know when it's going to come in.
So I'm really thinking they have no clue when it's going to come in. Meanwhile, summer's almost over now, and I don't need the swamp coolers.
Right.
And they're the big stand-up ones that are like $5,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So
and they already took your money.
And they already took the money for it all.
Yeah. I'd ask for the money back.
Yeah. So
tell me when they're in stock. I'll give you my money back.
That's kind of what I'm down to at this point. So I have this big pet peeve of, if you're going to be in business to sell stuff and manufacture and make stuff and sell stuff,
have it in stock, or at least communicate correctly with your customers.
Yes.
And don't make your customers pay for something up front that they can't get for over 30 days. Because now I'm paying interest on the credit card, which cost me even more for your stupid product.
Right.
And it's your guys' fault that this is happening because you informed me it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks earlier. I should just send him an invoice for the interest.
That would be fun.
22% on what, $11,000?
Yeah.
Should send him that invoice.
There you go.
I may call him up and do that now. Anyways,
can we do that on live on the air?
Live call.
I want to hear that story.
Oh my god! And it just sucks because it's the HVAC tool industry is so old and decrepit that if one company came out and ran business correctly, they would take over the entire industry, in my opinion.
Maybe.
But it's like the entire industry is just like, yeah, we don't give a fuck because everybody does this. So we don't care about taking care of people at all.
Well, and that's, I know I don't want to derail you, but I do want to say that is one of the things I strive to do on Snail Armor is not go on back order ever and actually have product in stock.
And you've done a really good job with it. So I'll give you a ton of credit for that.
Mine is a lot easier because it's like one thing in an essence, right? There's not a lot of parts that go into mine, but there's companies out there that sell similar products to me, and it's a 2 to 3 hour or 2 to 3 week from purchasing is when you're going to get it.
Yeah, and
I'm like, if I'm not shipping it within 2 days, there's something wrong. Unless you do custom etching and stuff. But if you're not getting it in 2 days, if you don't get a shipping notice in 2 days on a blank panel, you should be like, So anyways, how does this relate to the Walter stuff?
It was just more of we're not getting a clear answer on when Tool Month tools are going to be shipping, all the winnings from Tool Month. So
I was told by Lawless Corey at the beginning of this month that everything should be shipped out by the end of this month.
Okay.
And some of the bigger ticket items or the bigger ticket items are going to take longer. And some of the smaller items people might already get them in their mailboxes already.
Okay.
But I've had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, do you know when this is shipped?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm sorry, this is the information I have.
Yeah.
This is what I was told.
Yeah.
Please inform me when you get it."
Yeah.
Because I want to know.
Yeah, we want to know as well. So.
Yeah. And Tyler, and we haven't talked about this, but Tyler and I I'm sure I'm going to put words in your mouth, and I'm sure they're correct. We're going to do things different next year.
I like when you put things in my mouth, so it's okay.
I've got a chip. There's some chips over there. But yeah, we're gonna do things differently next year. To some point. We, without going down too big of a rabbit hole here, we lost a chunk of money because with all the flex tools, because those items were big and heavy, and we had them all shipped
a lot to
the warehouse, and then we shipped them out from there. So we were kind of like, well, some of our own pocket money got wasted on that to some extent for your guys' gain.
Yep.
But now, so we tried to eliminate that and have the company do the shipping, but now we are 2 months behind, and the winners have not got their product. So we're trying to figure out, like, okay,
what's the happy medium?
How do we figure this out? Do we
problem,
have them ship it to us, but then they're going to have to pay for shipping from us? Reimburse our shipping? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to make sure they have it in stock and ready to ship prior to the thing. But this isn't going to happen next year. We're gonna figure out a better way for sure.
Yep. Anyways, so rant over. I'm just in a really big complaining mood today, so
perfect.
Just buckle up, Buttercup. Sorry in advance.
Good.
I'm in a sour mood today. Anyway, so Thursday's episode, that's kind of all the background, most of the housekeeping stuff. If we miss something, it's all in the show notes, so you guys can peruse the show notes. There's a lot of different things going on there. I guess we get to figure out how our weekends were.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, how was your weekend, sir?
I'm going to make you wait.
You're going to make me so I have to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
You've been asking me how mine was the past few weeks, and so let's flip it around. Let's hear how boring yours was.
We're going to Tarantino it?
Yeah, we're going to Tarantino it. And then when there's actually some legitimate truck talk coming out, that'll be at the end of the episode.
Perfect. That'll be great.
All right.
I had family over.
Yeah.
So it's been roughly about a year since my grandfather passed.
Okay.
And so he was definitely a big part of my life, and growing up, and a big part of why I'm so infatuated and passionate about the outdoors.
Yes.
And so I was out having dinner with my grandmother, and she was just like, "Did you know it's almost been a year since Grandpa passed?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it has. We're coming up on that." She goes, "Yeah, we should do something." And it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
You're
"Well,
like, yeah, let's.
we totally should do something." Like
Organize it, Grandma.
Organize something. And so, she goes, "Yeah, would you mind organizing it?" And I was like, "Of course, I would love to. I would love to, Nana." And so I put together, and I was like, "Well, look, we got him cremated, right? And a big goal is." He loves the outdoors, loves being out in the mountains, loves rivers, loves waterways, watersheds, that kind of stuff. So we were going to take his ashes and distribute them in different places kind of throughout the state that he was very passionate about, different areas. And one of them is the Effie Yod Nature Center here in Sacramento. It's more Carmichael Folsom.
Okay.
Over by Ansel Hoffman. It's a nature center that does a lot of nature education topics within Ansel Hoffman Park. So he was very passionate about that area, the American River Byway, the American River Parkway, coming through there. So we decided it was either go there or go all the way up to the Feather River, which is minimum 8 to 9 hours just in driving to get up to Millsap Bar, especially, which was very dear to his heart. So we're like, such short notice. Let's just go to Ansel Hoffman here in Sacramento. Yeah. And so we put all that together. A bunch of the family came out on Saturday. We hung out at Ansel Hoffman in the morning and into the early afternoon. Got to do a little bit of remembrance of him down at the river. And then called it, and everybody kind of went back home and did their own thing. So my sister was in town.
Yeah.
So I hosted her all weekend. This is the first time she got to see Reed. Which was
really?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
My sister is the oldest of the grandchildren. I am the second oldest of the grandchildren.
Okay.
And then there's 5 ones younger than me.
Got it.
But everybody's over 20, 21 now. I'm not sure how old Gracie is now, 20 or 21. So we're all the grandkids have like talked about when we're going to start having kids to bring great grandkids into the family gatherings, right?
Sure.
And all of us have always been like, no, we're not having kids. Fuck that. None of us want kids. So
until now.
So I'm fairly certain that Reed is probably going to be the only great grandchild.
On that side of the family,
on my dad's side of the family, and my the secretary side of the family too.
Oh,
yeah. None of the grandkids on her side of the family want to have kids either.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. So anyways, Reed gets a lot of attention at the family gatherings. We kind of play hot potato with him, pass him around to everybody. But he did awesome all day long. He loves being in the park and just looking around at all the trees. And he just it's funny how much more enthralled he is with his surroundings when he's outdoors versus indoors.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Right? We're the same way.
You and I are the same way. It's just fun to see, though, in other people. So he was great all day. Friday, I took the camper, the Lance, off of the truck and ran a bunch of errands to get ready for Saturday. Saturday was the family gathering. And then Sunday, I ran down to Modesto and had lunch with my mom while my sister was in town.
Oh, okay.
And so we did that Sunday and then went out to a park in Modesto, which was a really nice park. I was like, I didn't think there was anything nice in Modesto.
Right.
That's like Stockton area for those people that don't know. And so I was like, I didn't think there was anything nice down here, but it was a really cool park with a water pad that had like holes in the concrete, jets for water to come up, and different water features. That had a little water cannon that the kids could spray around at each other. Cool. A thing that kind of filled up with water, and as it filled up, it would tip over
and dump all the water out on whoever was underneath it.
Yeah.
So it was a cool little water feature, a huge playground equipment, just a bunch of playground equipment, almost bigger, more than McKinley Park.
Wow.
And McKinley's playground is pretty big. They had a public pool there as well that was all closed up. Nobody was there, no lifeguards on duty. So, but it was a really cool park. I was like, yeah, this is pretty sweet. I have to come back sometime. But while we were here, kind of with my dad coming up for the weekend, part of the plan was for him to bring his truck.
Okay.
Because there were some things broken on his truck that needed to be fixed.
Like what?
His ham antenna was no longer really attached to the roof very well.
Well, isn't it just a magnet?
Nope.
Oh.
It's a hole drilled in his roof, and then it's an NMO mount in the roof. We'll get to that. His ARB switches no longer worked. So his compressor would not turn on, and neither of his lockers would turn on either.
Sounds like a Morphlate compressor can solve that.
I mean, it could. I think... Oh, we'll get into that. His tires are horribly off balance.
Oh.
Not horribly. They're pretty bad, though. But he got the new set of Yokohama 40s, and he has the internal bead locks.
Yes.
And he went to get them balanced, and they are not balanced at all.
Interesting.
So I had to look into that.
I have a weird theory that internal bead locks shift around.
I think they do too.
And so they can be balanced at one point, but then when you like deflate your tire and inflate them, things kind of move around on the inside, and then it won't be balanced again the other way.
I think so. I mean, there's not a whole lot of movement they can do because the valve stem for is holding it, but it can move 2 inches either way.
Yeah, maybe. And that's enough to throw it off.
Yeah.
For sure.
That'd be my guess.
Because my tires go through these weird like stages where I'll be driving down the road and it'll be perfectly fine and smooth and I can hit like 70 miles an hour. And then I'll go wheeling and then I'll be off the trail and, not a drive shaft issue, but I'd be at like 55 and the truck's like unbalanced,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it? Like, is one tire not inflated enough, or is like something like the tire's off? Is it unbalanced? Like, it's really bizarre. And I regret not putting balancing beads in. And I don't think if I put them in there now, they would be able to get around the tube. Because there's that liner.
You have to completely debead one side, pull the tube and deflate your tube, pull the liner aside, and get the beads into the air chamber of your tire between your inner bead lock and your tire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to glue tread all of them. Just cut a hole, dump the beads in, and put a glue tread patch on.
That's actually not a bad idea. My glue tread patch is holding great on my tire. That's not a bad idea, actually, Jimmy. That I might do that to my dad's tire and not tell him. His brand new Yokohama.
Maybe we can figure out. Maybe we can grind down one of the lugs on the sidewall, and then we can put the patch in and cut it to the same
so it's
shape.
the lug again.
Yeah, it looks like a normal lug, like it should be there.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. So I was telling my dad, I was like, I asked him, do you run balancing beads? He goes, no, I've always been against them, but I don't know why. And I was like, okay, I love them. Yeah. I think they're great. I think everybody who does an off-road tire should run balancing beads. I think that clip-on weights fall off when you're wheeling at some point. They inevitably will. And the stick-on weights, they do fairly well, but if you're in a bunch of mud and snow all the time, that messes with the adhesive, or has a high potential to. So they can fall off too. And I'm like, the only way to, and those are all static weights, right? So if you chunk your tires or your tread is disappearing over time, you're getting an uneven wear pattern, whatever it is that we see on off-road vehicles, then you have to rebalance your tires over time. Whereas beads, you don't have to rebalance things. They do it dynamically no matter what the balance of the tire is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I think they're a great thing as well.
Yeah.
I almost feel like everybody should put beads in there regardless, even if you're going to go get them balanced with, static weights or clip-on weights or whatever, because, I mean, it'll just make it more smooth.
Yep.
It'll just solve the
more
problem better.
Yeah. So I talked with him about beads, and I think he's coming around to being more open to the idea. I think he just didn't originally like the noise of beads in a tire as you're going really slow.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Can't hear
Get the really small ones. Like if you have noise in your tires, your beads are too big, in my opinion. So, anyways, tire beads for bouncing. We'll get into that too, because I found some interesting things. And then I wanted to check up on to see how the welding was on his leaf springs.
Okay.
So last time he brought his truck up, we found that his overload leaf, because there's a military wrap on his rear leaf springs.
Oh, interesting.
His overload one was snapped, and it was like not in the leaf pack anymore. It kept like swinging out side to side, and I'm like, you're going to slice your tire on that. You need to take that off.
The overload was snapped, or the little cradle thing to keep it in line?
The spring, the top leaf spring, which is not your load-bearing spring in a military wrap.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like, it acts like another overload support spring.
Got it.
And so the top one was snapped in half, and it was like fanning out, right? And I was like, you need to get rid of that. It's going to slice your tire. And then he hasn't really done much wheeling, and because he's going to now redo his rear suspension. And so he has some four-wheel underground parts on order, the undercab mount system, the same one I have, and the 3-link. So while we're waiting for that, he just tried to cobble back together his leaf spring so he can still drive on the road, right, and get the truck around when he needs to. So I told him, I was like, now when you do leaf spring and spring steel, there's a very particular process you have to go through if you want these to still work for you and the welds to hold.
Yeah.
And so I think he tried to explain that to the shop, and the shop was just kind of like, why are you telling us this? He said that they acted like they knew and that he was treating them like a child kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
And so I went to look at it. Literally, the welds themselves are popping off of the leaf spring.
Oh, no.
So they didn't get the welds hot enough, and
yes.
B, they didn't heat up the leaf springs, and C, I don't think they let them cool down and peen them out to release the tension. So, like, the whole weld itself is like, I've never seen a weld just peeling. Like, I've seen stress cracks from your heat affected zone and the material you're welding. I've seen cracks appear like that, but I've never seen a weld just peel off of the surface.
No, right. Obviously, it didn't adhere.
No, it didn't adhere at all. And so I kind of started pointing that out, and I was like, you have got cracks here and here and here. This weld is completely coming out. I could like grab it with my finger and pull it out like a soda pop can top.
Yeah.
And then there was another spot it was happening at, and I was like, these guys did not do this correct. I was like, it'll hold if you're only drive it a couple more times on the road kind of thing until you get your suspension done. Should be fine. Definitely don't go wheeling on it.
No. You can't flex it.
You can't flex it. And so he's going to take pictures of it and then just take it back to the shop and be like, hey, remember how you guys said you knew how to weld these? Here's what they're doing now. And see what they say. I don't know if they'll give him his money back or try and redo it for him. I'm like, I wouldn't let them try and redo it because they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's going to do that. The tires,
should take it to Sac Spring.
Right, and just have him do it there. He doesn't want to spend a lot of money on it because he's just redoing the whole suspension.
Does he need it if it's just an overload?
Not really. In my opinion, at this point, he should just cut that whole top spring off, the military wrap spring. Leave the military wraps around the eyelets of the spring, but just cut that whole spring and just take it out. Like all the other springs. It's not a
load-bearing spring. It's not. It's on the top of the one that's actually attached to the truck.
Correct.
Right. So if he cuts it off, what's the point of cutting it off or removing it? It's probably easier to cut it off, but still not easy to cut springs.
Nope.
And I would.
The rest of the leaf pack is just fine. Yeah. Except now that they've welded that top one to the load leaf.
Oh.
So, or tried to, I should say.
Yeah, you could probably hit it and it'll break apart.
Yeah.
I would take it back to them and say, you guys screwed this up.
Yeah.
I want both of you need to take both of these off of this and put it back together, and I'm not paying you anything because you messed up this thing already.
Yeah. So anyways, there's that I found. He said that he had his steering box redone because it was leaking. Because when his steering box got drilled and tapped for hydro assist, they tapped the not the top one where the vein is, the side one where the chamber is. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
They tapped that in the front of the box.
Yeah.
And so when you push the boxes forward as far as you can for a solid axle swap, that fitting that comes out, the 90, gets smashed into his radiator support.
Yes.
And so it was leaking, and I was like, this is a dumb spot. You should pull that out, plug that, and drill and retap the chamber on the side of the steering box. He doesn't want to do that. And so he had somebody take the box out, take the fitting out, and put the fitting back in. And he said something about the guy welding it closed to help seal up the leak. And I was like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Okay.
But he said that the fitting is still leaking now. I'm like, yeah, because you need to plug that and drill and retap in a different spot. That's not the right spot to tap those.
Sounds like your dad needs a better shop that knows how to weld.
Yeah, whoever he's using for welding is not a good doing welders. So anyways, that was an interesting thing, and I forgot to look at it. It was nighttime when I finally remembered to look at it, and he was about to leave. So I just couldn't see anything in the dark. So
yeah,
I was like, this should not leak with just Teflon tape on the threads.
Right.
That's all you need. You don't need to weld anything. If they're welding something, that's not good.
Right.
That's not, don't do that. So there's that.
It also sounds like they drilled it and tapped it too deep.
Possibly.
And so you can't get the correct seal from just tightening the fitting on.
Possibly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that I'm just like, you need to tap this on the side. Like that's ultimately what you need to do. Plug that other one. But so there's that. The tires being unbalanced. I crawled under the rig and started looking. Only one wheel had weights on it.
Okay.
The other three had nothing on them whatsoever. And I was like, who did you have balance your wheels and tires, Dad?
Well, I'll tell you, there are I've never taken Bobcat to get its wheels balanced. Mm-hmm. And there's times when it runs perfect. Like I think the Yokohama tires are so well made that they're nearly perfect to drive down the road and you don't need any weights.
Yeah. I don't think I put any beads into the Yokohamas. Like, I don't think I because I originally had beads in the IROCs. They needed them because they chunk bad and they wear pretty quickly. But when I took the IROCs off and put the Patagonias on, I don't think I ever put beads in the Patagonias.
I don't remember.
And then when I got the Yokohamas, I don't think I ever put beads in the Yokohamas either. And they drive smooth.
Yeah. And so it could be like that one was only slightly off and all the other three were perfect.
Maybe, but they're not.
They're not
now.
Yeah.
Something's going on. I thought I could feel that it was the rear driver tire, which doesn't have any weights on it. Maybe it's the one tire that does have weights on it.
Yeah,
that's
right.
all fucked, right? But I was looking, I was
How
like,
funny would that be?
I was like, you need to take this back to the shop and be like, did you guys actually balance these? Because there's only one that says weights on them. And see what they say. So that was kind of funny. The ARB stuff happening.
Yeah.
One of my big beefs with ARB and the way they do lockers is that their wiring harnesses have a lot of safety features built into them, which means you cannot turn on the lockers. You cannot engage the lockers without the power being on to your compressor.
Okay.
And then you cannot engage the front locker without the rear locker being engaged.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so there's kind of these safety features built in that limits how you operate your ARB lockers with a full ARB compressor and locker setup. I hated all that. When I had ARBs, I was like, fuck this wiring harness. I wired everything independently so I could have just the compressor on if I want. I could have just the lockers on if I want, and I can run my front or rear and front or just my front independently of each other. So you don't have to have all these rules about how you run your equipment. And my dad, though, likes to keep everything very stock, right? So he has sort of. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
within
a highly modified truck.
He wants them to stay how the manufacturer designed it.
Okay.
So he has all of his ARB switches in there, and none of them are working now.
Right.
So I went and I traced all of his ARB wiring
Everything's connected. There's no breaks anywhere. Everything is connectivity. All of his fuses are good. All the fuses in the truck are good because I know that he has it set as well that he can only turn everything on if there's accessory power. And so I was like, maybe there's the circuit they tapped into to trigger that is bad. All his fuses in the entire truck I can find are good. I'm like, the only thing I could think of is it all starts, the chain of how ARB sets up their wiring harness starts with your switch for your compressor. Maybe that switch is bad.
Okay.
So to test it, you need get a brand new compressor switch. Take the wires out the back of the old one, plug them in the new one, and see if it starts working.
Would any switch work?
I don't know. I don't know if ARB does anything funky in their switches or if it's just a single.
Just put the wires together.
Yeah, hot wire it all. See? But that was getting 12 volt into the switch.
Yeah.
But nothing was coming out. So I assume this switch is bad and all you need is a new switch. But I don't have ARB switches, so I don't know how to test that.
Got it.
So we'll see. He's going to take it to somebody. I think he's going to take it down to Marlin Crawler.
Yeah. Not the welding store.
Not the welding store. We can take it down to Marlin Crawler and see if there's somebody there who can swap out the switch for him real quick and test it and see. So there's that, and then the ham antenna.
Okay.
I'm guessing the tire balancing place, when they drove his truck into the bay, didn't pay attention that there's an antenna on the top of the truck and ripped the antenna out on their bay door.
Really?
Because the sheet metal was mangled on his roof where the antenna is drilled and mounts into his roof.
Wow.
And the NMO mount was also slightly damaged.
No way.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I was like...
Did it pull out of... Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So... I
ripped it?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Dang it.
Yep. And so I was like, this is pretty bad. Like, I thought it was just a matter of the antenna came loose and it came apart or something. The NMO mount came apart. No, the sheet metal is fucked on his roof. And I was like, this got ripped out. This is not some stuff just got loose and fell apart. Somebody ripped this out. So I got to sit there and play body work on his roof for about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
To try and get the sheet metal flat enough to get the NMO mount back in. And since the NMO mount was damaged, I had to make a little custom washer flange surface for the back of it so it could mount to the underside of the roof. And then getting that in and then get the NMO back through the hole in the roof was a pain in the ass to do. But I got it all set up and got it all done because the hole was just mangled and it had ripped the sheet metal. I had to silicone his antenna on to make it waterproof.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm like, it works. We're getting clear readings to the Rubicon right now. We were able to talk to some people at the Rubicon in the Rubicon Springs from my house. So I was like, okay, we know we're getting good connectivity. The antenna's good. Your radio system is working. Now we just have to silicone it, make it waterproof. And I was like, so the downside is, with the nice thing about NMO mounts is you can just unscrew your antenna and pull it off whenever you need to. If you're going to go under a low-hanging something or other into a parking garage, low-hanging garage, and the hole and everything stays waterproof because of the NMO mount. But you can't do that because the sheet metal's mangled, which means that you now you can't pull the antenna off.
Nope.
The antenna is now sealed on there. If you want to pull the antenna down, you have to cut the silicone off too.
Yep. Bummer.
So it's working, but I told him you should go back to the shop when you're going back to the tire shop to talk to them about the balancing stuff. Ask them if they had any issues with your antenna or they recall anything about ripping an antenna out of your roof. So,
dang.
Yeah, that was he's getting some bad help right now from mechanics and shops in his area.
That's a bummer. When did you find the time to do all that?
Evening, Saturday afternoon mainly.
Wow.
Was when I did it all. Most of it, a big chunk of it, pretty much all of it. And then his license plate is removable, right?
Okay,
Kind of like Bobcat's is.
Yeah.
And so, but in order to remove it, he pretty much has to lay on the ground because the receiver and everything it's connected into, and the pin with the cotter pin on it is kind of tucked back up under his bed a little bit. He just can't reach it unless he like lays on the ground to pull it all out. And he goes, I want to redo how this is all going to work. So I came up with the plan and idea of cutting a square out of his bumper and Frenching in a square tubing as a receiver, right? And then putting his license plate into that receiver with one of those T-handle pins with the ball detent.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do that next time we get his truck in. But we figured all that out as well, the plans for that.
He has a tailgate.
Mm-hmm. That swings open.
But it swings. It's like a door.
Yeah.
Right? It's a modified tailgate that swings open like a door does.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not? And then he runs a spare.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put the license plate on the back of the spare?
No, because the spare, it's a really cool design that our Ford Ranger buddy, Matt, kind of figured out and came out with. The spare sits on the tailgate, and if he wants to use all of his bed, the spare can sit straight up. If he's not using all his bed, he folds the spare down.
Okay.
So it's folding down almost like a Baja trophy or an Ultra 4 car that has the spare kind of on the back of the car that way.
So can you put it on the tailgate, the license plate?
You could, but he wants to be able to just take the license plate off and not have it there permanently.
Okay. For all the dirty deeds he does?
I guess so, yeah.
Like if you got it out of the way of getting damaged when he goes up or down objects, then he would never need to take it off.
Yeah, but you have the spare tire to deal with too.
Yeah.
It's for visibility.
Yeah.
So
I just was trying to figure out if there's a way, because I'm probably going to move my license plate onto my my tailgate. Mm-hmm. And then they make on Amazon, you can get these little tiny things that are the screw for your license plate, and they have lights on them.
Nice.
Yeah. So then you just wire it up to your lights of your one of your light setups inside of the corner lights, whether it's your blinker could be fun. That would be funny. But just like the running lights or any of those other ones, and then whenever those turn on, the license plate lights will turn on, and they'll just be right there on the tailgate.
Yeah.
I might whale it.
You don't have a 40-inch spare on your tailgate, though?
No, I'm not going to run a spare.
Yeah, I know.
I run glue treads.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which I still need more glue, by the way.
Yeah. We have a bunch here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's he's got the spare tire on the back of his truck to have to work around and make sure his license plate stays visible with the spare. So,
yeah, I get it.
Yep.
He needs another license plate so he can do both.
That's what that's what you should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really what I did this weekend. I didn't get any. I got to play. I drove around the 4Runner. I don't remember when, but I got a bunch of new temperature measurements.
Okay.
Because it was hotter one of the days. It got up to like 98 one of the days. So I was like, I'm going to go drive the 4Runner around this afternoon for my errands. And so driving down the freeway in 95 plus degrees with the air conditioner on, I used to get about 215 to 218 on the coolant temps.
And now?
And now, with the shroud on and the mechanical fan, it would kind of creep up to about 202, 203, and then drop to 182.
Sweet.
And it kept doing that over and over again. I was like, the thermostat's opening.
Yes.
When the thermostat opens, it drops back down to 182.
So the radiator's working.
Radiator is working amazingly, and the ambient air temperature was over 105. It got up to about 112 at one point on the throttle body intake air temperature, IAT, intake air temperature. So I was like, if it's getting reading 112 on the intake temperatures and then running 182, I was like, I think we're golden now.
Yeah.
I still need to take it crawling and see if we maintain that good cooling characteristics while crawling with the vehicle in hot temperatures. But I don't know if there's going to be too many more opportunities for that now.
Yeah.
As we're starting to get towards the end of summer here.
I know. And it's getting cooler, so it doesn't really matter that much. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that I think we're really narrowing in on the solution to the Forerunner, which is great.
Yep. I severely, severely underestimated how much airflow you really need through your radiator. 2,500 CFM electric fans are just not enough airflow. I thought it was plenty, but it's not.
Right.
So,
wow. That's crazy.
Yep. Well, so that's me. That's what I was up to.
Yeah.
That's what I did this weekend. The kid got another head cold or allergies. I don't know if it's allergies or head cold. So I'm also running on very little sleep, which is why I'm a little touchy today.
Yeah.
But it was, having to let a baby sleep on you to try and get some sleep yourself is just I don't want to say frustrating. It's life, and you just deal with it.
Well, and it sounded like the secretary got food poisoning or something and got sick. So you were doing. Yeah. Not only did you have a really sick wife. Yeah. That is not a happy thing, which you've just recently went through.
I just had food poisoning. She started explaining to me how she was feeling, and then once she kind of started having it come out both ends, I was like, "Oh, this is exactly. You look like I felt the last 2 weeks ago.
You look like I felt.
Yeah. I was like, get out of here, go lay down. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." Yeah. And then the kid is
sick too.
And then the kid was not able to breathe, being horizontal, sleeping. So
yeah, brutal.
It was a lot happened this weekend.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to say a quick update real quick before I start my side of things. So we got an email from Evan Cook.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And there is a World Cup of aerobic gymnastics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my response was, well, let's eliminate that from the Olympics too.
Yeah.
If there's already a World Cup of that, then we don't need to figure out who the best in the best is, because have them do the World Cup, not the Olympics. Yeah.
That's funny.
So that was, I had no idea. Obviously somebody would. Yeah. And Evan Cook, for some reason, was the person that knew.
Yep. More feedback.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. I've had quite a few people writing in about the Axle Talk episode we did.
Okay.
For the listener in Montana.
Yes.
So remember how we were trying to figure out where he lived in Montana, what kind of wheeling and everything he did, and we weren't even sure if he was really in Montana, but we kind of had it narrowed down to what we thought. He goes, "You guys nailed that."
Yeah, he must have said the same thing to me. He's like, "You guys got it spot on." Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that was we're like detectives.
I know, right? So, anyways,
from now on, you don't even need to say your name on snail mail.
Just give us a couple of clues. We'll get out of this.
Yeah.
So, anyways. We nailed that. He was super appreciative of everything. I got a lot of feedback from people who have a lot of insight, have a lot of knowledge on older axles than we do.
Okay.
I'm fairly familiar with 05 and up Super Duty stuff now, because I had to do a lot of research on those to build my axles.
Yes.
You and I have a lot of knowledge about Toyota axles, but we don't know a whole lot about 1970s, 1980s GM, Ford, Chevy, Dodge axles, right?
No. I will admit that I don't know a lot about that.
All I know is that Chevy made the passenger drop kingpins in the late 70s, I think. Outside of that, I have no clue about what anything else was.
There's a Ford 9-inch.
There's a Ford 9-inch.
I got
some more feedback on that too. So anyways, there's some really good options. The Wagoneer 44 axle was a passenger drop Dana 44.
Yes.
6-lug Toyota pattern. Chevy, Toyota 6-lug.
Awesome. So that's the golden child if you're going to get a Dana 44 with
for Toyotas
for passenger drop.
Yep.
But he's not passenger drop.
Oh, that's right. No, he's not. He's driver drop.
Yes.
So why were we talking about the Waggy 44?
I think we just brought it up in context that there is a passenger side drop Dana 44, but he's going to need a driver drop.
Yes, that's true. So, but the Wagoneers are getting really hard to find now. That axle is very rare to find. It's almost as rare as the HO32 axles now.
Yeah. That's what our what's his name?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul runs on his H3.
I think he has the HO32 on the rear.
So anyways, that was some really cool. I got some really cool feedback. Maybe if we get time for a Friday episode or maybe another episode, I'll read through some of the stuff that was written in.
Okay.
There's also a really cool website called car-parts.com.
Yes.
That apparently has a massive database of all the junkyards in the United States.
Yes.
And you can search used car parts. And I just did a quick search on it real quick and was finding 05 and up Super Duty axles for $700.
Oh, that's not bad
for
at all.
a front complete 05 and up Super Duty axle, $700 in pretty much any area of the country.
Delivered? No, you have to go pick them up.
I think you'd have to go pick them up or ship them or something.
Yeah. Because I was using that website to try to find a fender for Clifford.
Oh,
and you can
okay.
even, like, through their filters, you can, like, figure out color.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. So I was like, I need this range of truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking F-150 through 350 and a red. And it would cycle it through. And I found a few that were on the West Coast. And I was like, there's one in Washington. Like, I need to go to Washington. And then Sean Spaghetti found the guy selling the truck bed, because I was talking about how my truck bed had a little bow on the back.
Yep.
And then, that guy
was
ended
it a
up.
pink bow or?
Yeah.
Like
it was a beautiful, it was a white, actually.
A white
nice
bow?
white bow.
Nice.
Yeah. But that guy had and it was the correct color.
Mm-hmm.
Correct color bow. How about that? And then, he had the correct fenders as well. So that all worked out. But yes, I have used car.parts.com.
Car-parts.com.
Yes. Yeah.
So then that kind of sent me down, I don't know, not really a rabbit hole, but it just kind of confirmed what I was feeling. Like, Toyota axles they're expensive. I think because they're getting harder to find. I mean, they weren't produced after 1985 for the front. So they're getting hard to find. So it's like 05 and up Super Duty axles are everywhere. There's tons of them now. So supply and demand, prices are falling out.
Absolutely.
From 05 and up Super Duty axles. I also got to go on the On the Rocks podcast.
Okay.
Which is kind of a new podcast. They're close ties with Total Off-Road and those guys.
Oh, cool.
I got to go on there and talk with Adam, one of the hosts, about just random car talk, and we got into axle talk. We got into talk about axles, and he's running a 6.0 LQ9 in his Jeep with a turbo 400, and I forget which Atlas, 4-speed Atlas, I think. But he's running just the stock 05 and up Super Duty axles, like complete stock shaft, stock 1550 U-joints, everything. He goes, they're beefy. Like, you don't need to swap anything out on them, even with as much power and torque as he's putting in doing East Coast wheeling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, if anybody has, especially Toyota mini trucks, first-gen Tacomas, 05 and up Super Duty axles are kind of the way to go, in my opinion. I'm completely, after seeing the prices that I'm seeing on them, you can get them complete and run them probably forever without having to worry about breaking them in a Toyota pickup. But then you can just upgrade the axle shafts and U-joint stuff if you want to later down the road. You don't have to do anything to them right away, except maybe gears. The other cool thing I found out, I think Ben Dover found this out, is that the Ford E-lockers that come in 10.5 Sterling axles are only like $600 from Ford.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you can get, if you want, you can get Ford E-lockers for the Sterlings, and apparently that E-locker fits, it's the same carrier from 99 through current F250 and higher rear axles.
Sounds like it. Yeah, that sounds.
It's not
sense.
It's not just the 05 and up. That's the front axle, right?
Yes.
So the late 90s rear 10.5 Sterlings are pretty much all the same.
So will that locker still work in the front? 05 up?
No, because the front is 9.5 high pinion. It's not that 10.5 rear.
Okay.
So, but the rear locker is only $600.
Yeah, that's screaming
for
deal.
those things. So
yeah. I think there was a wealth of information in that episode,
and a lot of really good listener feedback.
A lot of amazing listener feedback, which was fun. Maybe we should do a follow-up episode on things that came in. And if you guys out there have more information on that, please give us a phone call Area code 916-345-4744. We'll probably play them on the snail mail episodes, and we can continue that conversation down there for sure.
Also, for 9-inch third members,
yes,
there's a lot of aftermarket
tons
casted options, not just the billet aluminum ones that we're used to in the rock crawling world and Ultra 4 world. So somebody else said, 9-inch is readily available, but do not get the stock factory 9-inch ones. 9-inch third members. Get aftermarket ones. They're a lot stronger, and I don't say better quality, they're just a lot stronger than the original 9-inch platforms.
Yeah, I need to learn more about 9 inches.
Yeah. Sounds like a personal problem, Jimmy.
Yeah. Maybe.
Somebody call out if you have 9 inches to give Jimmy here.
If you have more information about 9 inches, let me know.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, so that's listener feedback. I wanted to get to that last week. I totally forgot to, so thanks for bringing that up.
No problem.
How was your weekend? What'd you do? What's your secret? I want to know.
Okay. I'll let you know.
Fill me in.
Yes. So I don't know if my negative attitude or like slightly grumpy demeanor got to the assistant
from the previous weekend.
And
going paddleboarding. And doing all the
and then
chores.
And then showing her all of the people that were making comments about how I was working on her car and not working on my own junk, right, and all that stuff. So this weekend, so the assistant is in a mom's group, a moms that's called it's actually called Momco. They changed the name. Okay. And it's like it used to be Mothers of Preschoolers, MOPS, but now it's their
preschoolers are now
beyond preschool. Now the preschoolers are beyond preschool. Like ours is 10 years old and my wife's still in MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. But so they've changed it now to Momco, but it's just more or less a group of women that get together that are all moms that can support each other.
Okay.
Right? So this weekend was a camping trip with her mom's group. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have the mini assistant. The mini assistant was at her dad's house this weekend. So we weren't going to go camping.
Okay.
Right? We kind of talked about it. I'm like, let's just do, like, if we're going to go, let's just go up there for the day. Mm-hmm. And not worry about it. Like, I don't want to necessarily be around the kids the entire time and not have my kid, right?
Yeah.
It's just not as like it's
not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have a kid that could distract all the other kids. Like go play, fun. Yeah. So we decided that we were only going to do a day trip, and then this last week comes rolling around, and we started talking about the weekend, and she was kind of like, if we're only going up there for the day, like, you don't really need to go. It's all like, it's like all my friends, and there's some guys there. Like, it's a family trip. This one's not just the ladies' trip. It's like the whole family goes right there. So there are some husbands there and stuff, but I know a few of them.
Yeah.
It's like, and I see them a few times a year.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not best buds.
But
if I see them, like, do they have
crawlers? Do they have rock crawlers?
No, not like, I don't think any of them do. One of them was kind of into rock crawling back when maybe he was a teenager, early 20s, and now he's like in his 40s or upper 40s or something like that. Anyway, so I said, so I can stay home and work on Samantha? Like,
yeah,
I can do this.
What I'm doing? Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yes, like I'm in. Like, okay, I'm gonna stay home. That would have
been funny if she would have been like, no, I actually had a list of projects for you to do.
Yeah, like I've got all this. I would have been like, sorry. I would have been like, sounds great, thanks. Yeah, write them all down. I'll make a list for me. And then I was like, oh, how many projects you get done? None. I went and did my stuff.
Yeah.
So the weekend, I don't have to do everything for you all the time. So anyway, she left the house like 10-ish. And she got home 9-ish.
Okay.
PM.
So
right?
almost 12 hours.
Almost 12 hours. And I was like,
Like how much can you get done in 12 hours, Jimmy?
I got almost nothing done. But but I got a lot done in a way. Okay. I didn't get a lot done on Samantha.
Okay.
But like, I was like, okay, I got to get the GoPro out. Like, I haven't grabbed the GoPro in a while. Like, it's dead. Like, I need to start charging it. You know, like, where's the memory cards? You know, like all this, you know, got all that together. And then I like turn around. I'm like looking at my shop. I'm like, man, it's just still a fucking disaster in here. And I'm like, if I'm going to start shooting stuff, I really need to start cleaning this up much more. And so like, I had this like pile of like whenever I get my panels, they put paper between it so that the panels aren't two powder coated brand new powder coating panels aren't rubbing against each other. So I had like all this paper in the corner that I kind of just threw on top of shit, and then cardboard boxes because it's like all that goes to the same spot when I go recycle it. So I put all the paper in Charlotte. I broke down all the cardboard, put all that into Charlotte. Like really started like cleaning up. Like I have space like in the main area to drive into the shop where the pad in front of the pad and that driveway. And if I'm using that, then everything kind of goes around Samantha. And if I'm going to be working on Samantha, everything comes back into the space where I would put another vehicle. And so I'm like, I got to solve this. Yeah. Like this isn't right. So then I started really kind of cleaning up and organizing more of the shop. And I was like, okay, I'm happy. Like, let's start. Let's figure this out. So then I started looking at Brian's instructions from 4-Wheel Underground and reading through it. I had a few questions, and you know, thankfully I've got, you know, a phone number in my pocket and not an email. So I gave him a call. I sent him a few photos and I said, hey, at your convenience, I know it's the weekend. Can you please give me a call? He gave me a call like 5 minutes later. Super fast.
He's super responsive.
And we talked it over, but then we found out that I was talking about how to figure out the appropriate rotation of the axle housing and then figure out how to put the brackets on, right? So he says on the Toyota mini truck axle, you want 6 degrees
caster,
which you can find that by putting an angle finder on the trunnion bearing race or on top of the steering arms, right?
Yep.
Well, my axle's bare. It's completely open. Okay. So I put I put an angle finder on the trunnion bearing race. Okay. And I find that like if it turns ever so slightly, that angle changes, right? Because
that's your Ackerman angle.
Right.
Fuck, I was trying. Ryan, you're listening right now. It's called Ackerman angle. Ackerman angle. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier.
Right.
Anyways.
And so it's got the caster and a twist to it. And I'm like.
So you had the knuckle ball on? Or.
Well, the knuckle balls are.
The knuckle is not on. The knuckle's
not on. It's a completely bare housing.
How are you turning then?
No, like if I put the angle finder on top of the race.
Oh, God, and you turn the angle finder.
And if you lean the angle finder any direction, it changes away from, it either becomes plus 6 degrees or below 6 degrees, right? And so I'm like, so do you want it dead accurate, like 90 degrees perpendicular to the axle housing? That's where I need it. And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay, so then when I put the bracket on, you know, for like the lower links, I center that so that it sits on top of the steering stops. He's like, yes, but and then he said, you need, in the photo you sent me, you don't have the steering stop, like, weld on brackets, like on top and on bottom of the steering stops. Okay. He's like, you need those because that's what it sits on. And I was like, okay, I need to go and look for those. And I don't know if actually they were ever sent, but I couldn't find them in any of the stuff that we have. And it's most likely our fault. Yeah. Right? Like I haven't, this is over a year project. We've had the parts for over a year. They've gone from the sent to the warehouse. I don't know how much of that stuff has gone over to, Ori's shop when he did your suspension. Then it came back here. Now it's at my shop. So those 8 little triangular pieces probably got lost somewhere throughout transportation.
That's what those were for. Okay.
You have them?
I don't know. I remember seeing them at one point. Okay. And I remember thinking, these are probably just a box in the steering stop, but I never used them on my axle, I don't believe. Because I have a different, I'm not using a Toyota knuckle, right? Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I just threw them in the excess box of your stuff, but
I couldn't find them.
Okay.
So I spent a good chunk or a decent few hours of the day making them.
Okay.
Because I was like, I went and like searched Rough Stuff's website. They didn't have them. They had steering stops, but they're like 1/2-inch solid plate like things. And I was like, if I'm like, that could work, but I want to do it how Brian calls it out.
Yep.
Right. And so I messaged him back and I'm like, I can't find them. I'm going to make them. Do you make them out of 1/4-inch, 3/16 or 1/8 or whatever, you know? And he's like, I think they're normally a 1/4-inch, but I bet you 3/16 would be fine. I was like, I have 1/4-inch plate. I'll just make them out of 1/4-inch.
Perfect.
So I spent a few hours like cutting those out, grinding them down, and welding them onto the axle.
Okay.
So that's what I got done. And it's funny how, like, if you're fabricating, things just take a long time, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I made 8 little triangles.
Yeah.
You know, I cut these 8 little triangles out and feathered them out and welded them on, but that took like 2-3 hours, you know, of my day. Plus cleaning up took another few hours. And then almost by the time, and then lunch, and I had lunch and dinner, right? So that took another hour-ish of the day. Almost by the time that I finished welding those brackets on the steering stops, the assistant messaged me and she's like, I'm on my way home. But she had like an 1.5-hour drive to get home. And so I was like, okay, I got an 1.5 hours more I could play in the shop. Like, what else am I going to do? And I didn't really want to be like, start
the next step
on Samantha, because it would, like, maybe I could have got a few things done in an hour and a half, but my mind would have been on that. And I kind of just wanted to move to another sort of project. So I worked on and sort of finished, I think, at least it's in a good spot at the moment, my shopping welding cart.
Yeah. Your gray Home Depot welding shopping cart?
Yes. Yeah. I did spray paint it so it didn't look orange for everybody, but now it's chipping off. So yeah, and that took a little longer than I expected, but I really like the outcome of it.
I like how it turned out too.
Yeah. I sent some photos in a group text. So what I did was I cut a slit out of the entire front of the shopping cart. So now the lead from the welder doesn't bend like 90 degrees up and then 90 degrees over the shopping cart.
Yeah.
Now it pretty much sticks straight through. I was going to cut like
just a hole in the grid.
But then you could never pull, like you would have to unwind or, you know, take the line, welding line out of the lead. And so I was like, no, I'm just going to make a slit so that we can lift it up or set it back down if you need to, whatever it is. And then I figured how, like, right now what I do is every time I use the welder and I'm done, I disconnect the bottle.
Oh, you pull the hose off the regulator and everything?
I take it all off, right? Because, and then put the cap,
regulator out of the thing,
put the cap back on the welding bottle. And because I don't want it falling over and damaging my regulator or anything, so I take all that off and I put it all into the shopping cart. And because mainly there's 2 different things, right? The welding bottle sits, the gas bottle sits on the ground. And it's not a part of the shopping cart.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there for a little while going, like, thinking about it. Like, I could build a plate here. I can build an extension there. I can really easily add it to the front of the cart, you know, but how I usually store it away is I shove it underneath one of the shelves. And if I did that, then the bottle, like, it wouldn't work that way. So I spent some time figuring it out. And then I'm like, why don't I just put it in the cart?
Yeah.
You know? And then I was like, I could cut a hole in the bottom of the shopping cart and it'll stick through the shopping cart and go down to that little grate thing on the bottom of the shopping cart.
Where you put your pallets of water.
Exactly. And so that's exactly what I did.
Okay.
I did measure it 1 line off of the grate. I should have left 1 more line. But I'll figure out, I might put some angle iron back there to help it slide down anyway.
Okay.
Now that I'm missing that part. And then I used that grate and I put it on the bottom. And I welded that in place. So now when the bottle slides through the shopping cart, it sits down onto the grate that I put in place.
And then you cut the hole the correct size so the bottle can't really move around at all.
Absolutely.
Because the shopping cart basket itself it's halfway up the bottle or so.
A third of the way up the bottle.
Yeah, that's clever. So you don't really have to have it strapped in to keep it from falling over and keep it safe.
But right now, because the hole's larger than it should have been, I'd put a ratchet strap around it.
Okay.
So but it's still not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to fall. The whole shopping cart has to fall over, right?
Exactly.
With the welder and all in it. Yeah. So, but the thing was that behind where I put that all the way in the back, sort of by the handle in the shopping cart, but all the shopping carts have that little seat that pushes out and forward.
Put a kid in?
Right, that you put a kid in. And I use that. I use that as
you
like
sit in it?
Well,
I mean, you're the right size for it, Jay.
you got me there. I just sit in that and stare at my welder, get a little baby erection.
I'm funny.
And whenever I see my welder. Okay. But no, I use it as like a table or a tray, like as a shelf in a way. Like I store my gloves on there and the welding hood,
your chipping hammer,
and it all kind of goes into that thing. And I use it, but now with the tank in there, it's locked shut.
Okay.
So I spent longer than I should have cutting that thing in half, more or less, and getting it to fit with precision to still work, still opens and shuts, just like a standard one does. And I tried to make it as even, like it should be there, like not that one thing's off center, like all the rungs are all fairly evenly spaced. There's little loops on each end, and I made those so it was all equal, and I connected it all the same way that it was normally connected, so you can still open and shut it if whatever reason you needed to. So I spent the rest of the time, it took me about an hour and a half to get that shopping cart done. And I had just enough time to go home, take a shower, and clean myself off from all the work and dirtiness that I had that day. And right as I was getting out of the shower, the assistant came home.
Nice.
Yeah, it was perfect. And I'm so happy with how the shopping cart came out.
Yeah, so that's one of those really cool projects. And I know that we have, it reminds me of the hater hitch. Doing the hater hitch, and people are like, why would you do that? Just go buy the hitch extensions and a hitch. And I was like, because it's not the fun of it. Like the fun is come up with this stupid idea and a stupid way to do something that you get enjoyment out of. And this is that perfect project.
It is.
Yeah.
I could have gone into Harbor Freight.
Just got a welding cart.
A welding cart and, for whatever they are, $50.
Yeah.
But I learned things by doing this, which is like invaluable to some extent. One thing I learned is that you need to turn the gas on to get good welds. Every single time. I'm still such a flux core whore that
flux core whore. That's a new T-shirt. There you go.
I'm so used to flux core, just like turn the welder on and go. That every time I go, this thing's not welding good, and I go, I got to turn.
Why are my welds super holy? What is going on?
Shitty looking. Yeah,
that's funny.
But and that happened both on the axle when I was welding the steering stops on, and when I started welding on the shopping cart.
I remember when you one of the first times you were using the welder, you sent a picture to our group with me, Hussman, and Dave, and Dave, and you were like, "Something's going on with my welding. What's going on?" And Hussman replied first, and he goes, "Turn your air on."
Yeah, turn the gas on.
Then there was like no reply from you for a while, and I saw the group text, and he'd already replied that, and I was like, oh, Jimmy's not replying. I guess he's doing it or working to him doing something. So I waited for a while, and then I don't remember how long it was, but it was an awkwardly a long amount of time before you came back. You're like, oh, that works so much better when you have shielding gas on solid core wire.
Yeah. But I'm just stoked. I'm trying to figure out that whole welding corner. Like I did a lot of work in that corner, and it got really dirty over there, and. But it's also not a ton of space. Like that welding table is fantastic. And it's not terribly big, but it is kind of big for the space. Yeah. And then I have all my metal is sort of leaned up in that corner. I think I need to move that metal somewhere. And then I need to put because right now the welding shopping cart is just sitting behind Samantha it doesn't have a place to go.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking I need to move the metal and put the shopping cart, it needs to be, its house needs to be right next to the welding table. And then I need to figure out kind of what to do with the metal. Yeah. But I'm kind of in this slight rearrange of that area. like mentality.
Yeah.
In the mix of everything else that's going on. Like I'm not going to be rearranging it immediately. I've got other things that are taking priority. But yeah, it's just something in the back of my head trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
How to rearrange it and organize that area better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun once you start getting more time to be able to work in your shop. You're like, I feel like this could be more efficient and just the flow of work, the workflow, right?
Absolutely.
So,
well, and that's the table is new, right? So, because I built it, a month or so ago?
Yeah.
And so now that I'm using it, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure out the new flow because it's a new part of the shop. So, so the assistant got home. And, and I just sort of casually like, hey, how was it up there? And she told me about her
the train wreck episode,
the train wreck that happened up there. And she was like, how was your day? And I was like, it was so good. Like I was just
elated.
I laid it on so thick. Like I got so much stuff done. I did a good job at cleaning the shop. I did a bunch of welding. I played with the shopping cart. I redesigned the whole shopping cart. Let me show you these photos.
Come here, look at
like all this stuff. And I just was like, how thick of peanut butter can you slobber on this thing before it's too much? But I'm really hoping I got some point across that's like, Jimmy needs time in the shop.
Yep.
Like that. To go off and do things and not let me use my hands, to get work done, or even like as much as I don't want to admit it, just even working around the house fulfills that need to some extent, right? I just need to use my mind and use my hands and finish a project.
Yeah.
But that the significant other is always be like, I just want to be with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to do something.
Quality time is not my love language. Get out of here.
To some extent, yeah. It's like, if that's the case, give me a fidget. Like, I'll sit here and I'll be with my hands, just going crazy and sitting and watching some stupid TV show.
I wonder if Joe's listening. Do you think Joe Bremsky is listening right now?
I don't know. Probably. Why?
Joe, do you want to create a little Carnage Welder fidget thing toy for Jimmy with your 3D printer?
No, I don't want that. I want a tiny little welder so I can weld parts on the couch.
That's called a soldering iron, Jimmy.
Oh, that's true. I want it more powerful.
Okay. You need to have it go zzz and create sunlight.
Yeah, I want 1/4-inch plate that I can weld together.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Get a Carnage welder just to run lines while sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
After you
I lay out all these fiberglass blankets on the couch. You want to sit and watch TV? Okay. Covering myself in fiberglass blankets or whatever. All right. She's like, can you turn that down? I can't hear the TV. No, you got to turn the TV up. I'm at the perfect,
get some Bluetooth headsets.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at the perfect power right now.
Oh, man. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Joe, get on that. Oh man. But yeah, that was my weekend, and it was phenomenal because I got to play in the shop.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it was compared to last weekend. It's like complete 180.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Nice.
We have one thing planned this upcoming weekend, and then I think Labor Day is 3 weekends.
I think it's two
weekends. And I don't think we have anything planned on Labor Day. We were talking about doing some house stuff, but it sort of sounds like that just turned into painting.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's not going to be too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I did, not really off-road related so much, but for we've had a Starlink at my house, right? As soon as we moved in, we got a Starlink because there's no internet out in the middle of Loomis area. It's just I'm only a half an hour outside of Sacramento and there's no internet. It's so stupid.
You're what, a 10-minute drive maybe from Roseville, which is a main hub of the Sacramento area.
There's 100,000 people that live in Roseville.
Yeah.
And there's 6,000 that live in my town.
Yeah.
And
you don't have internet.
Can't get internet. It's so stupid. Yeah, I don't know why. The internet runs down the main road, but then turns the other direction.
Yeah, it doesn't. And you're pretty much on the main. You have one house between the main road and you, which is technically your old house.
Yeah.
And that didn't have internet.
Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got Starlink. But since we installed the Starlink, the cables ran down the roof and into my office window. And then I connected to their wireless modem router thing there, right? So that's how it's been all summer.
Okay.
This window has been cracked all summer.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy come over, an old college mate, and I said, we rearranged it, and I said, I need help. I need somebody. I'll be in the attic. I need somebody, working on the roof and then being able to work inside. And so we figured that out. There was an easy way to run it into the attic. There's a vent like literally right below the Starlink, so we just ran it in there. Got some steel wool, filled any hole that we made, and then figured out where the wall of the office was, and we drilled a hole in the top plate, ran it down the hole, and he cut a hole in the wall, and we put one of those fake plates in there that you can pass the cable in and out, and then connected the Starlink up, and we're all up and running. So
nice.
Yeah, that made the assistant more happy than almost anything this week, because it was just like, now we don't have this window open. Now there's not a random heat wave coming in from your office. Like, okay. But that was the other thing.
Downside, though, is now you can't really just take the Starlink with you when you go wheeling.
Yeah. Well, I can't anyway.
Shh. Yes, you can.
Well,
just don't tell the assistant. I don't know why the internet's not working.
I don't know why the internet's not working. Yeah.
Honey, the router's missing from your office. Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
What's lame about the Starlink, to some small extent, is that they made proprietary plugs.
Yeah.
I wish they would have just made it, because it's USB, but it's just fatter.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like a USB. What is it?
C, isn't it?
No, it's not C.
Fatter?
It's like a micro. It looks like a USB micro.
Okay.
But it's just the size of a mini.
Okay.
It doesn't have the weird flat edges on the side. It's just it's like not a hexagon. It's whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's just a bigger USB mini or micro, micro. And I'm like, why couldn't you just make it a normal USB micro? That could have solved all these problems. I would have, it was a pain in the butt, because you can't cut the wire, you can't splice it.
And it has that 90 degree on it to get it
90 degree.
Yeah.
So we actually ran it from in the office up to the satellite.
Jeez.
Because that end is at least straight.
Yes. Yep.
So we ran it that direction first. And so it was just a pain.
Yeah.
But we eventually, we got it going. But if it would have just been a USB cable or a standard Ethernet cable, Cat 6 cable or something, I could have drilled a smaller hole in the top plate. It would have been a lot easier to run out. And you could run it make a shorter or longer cable really easy. So I can steal the Starlink, and then just have a short cable for when I take it off roading, and leave the other cable there in the house already set.
Yeah,
but no, proprietary. Apple.
Apple. So I think Apple's going to have to start going to USB-C on everything because of the European mandate. So.
And I'll tell you, if anybody ever goes to Europe, one of the things that we noticed and had going on when we were in Ireland, everything is USB-C.
Yep.
There's some USB-A things, but even the wall plugs in the hotels were C.
Nice.
Yeah, so everything is USB-C. We took a lot of A to C cables, and we were like,
we need C to C.
We need C to C. We can't connect these. Yeah. So we had to the brick that would use their plugs and allow us to use our plugs. So that's the only way that we would charge our phone, is we had to pull the brick out to plug it into the wall. Because we didn't have a C to C cable.
Yeah.
Which we do, but we just didn't bring them.
Yeah.
But if you're going to Europe, take C to C.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, man, good stuff. I think it's fun. There's for those Starlink fanatics out there, the Gen 3 has been out for a little bit here, and it gets 3 times the speed of the Gen 2s.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Ozzy ended up getting a Gen 3, and he's pulling 400 megabits a second from in the Rubicon Springs and stuff like that.
What's the upload speed? Is it any faster upload?
It's about 100, he said.
That's what mine is.
Okay.
So it's same upload.
Similar upload, better download.
Yeah. Don't really need a better download.
Yeah, unless you have 150 people on your Wi-Fi
Yes.
like Wayne does.
Yes. Mine is the upload. Like if I'm uploading the YouTube videos for the podcast or uploading any YouTube videos, or even the podcast is a few gigs, you know, and you're uploading it and you have 100 megs a minute or a second or whatever it is. It takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The YouTube videos are like 4 or 8 gigs.
Yeah.
Even just the podcast ones.
Yeah.
It's because they're like an hour and a half long. But yeah, I mean, so those are, I leave them overnight. It's like, okay, I don't care how long it goes.
Yeah.
And actually speeds are faster then.
Yeah. Overnight time. Yeah. Less people using it.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff. So
I think let's talk about this real quick. We got our prototype in for the 5-year people. We got our prototype embroidery on that I said I did mention embroidery one of the last times for the gifts that we're giving out. And we're dissatisfied with the outcome for the most part.
Yeah.
So we're going to change the design to something simpler. And we should be able to get those running ASAP.
Cool.
Yes.
I like it. I think that's it then.
Okay.
That's it for this episode.
Sounds great. Yeah. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so. Email us, Jimmy or Tyler at snailtrail4x4.com. You can find us on social media. I'm over at SnailTrail4x4. Tyler's at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. And you can always call in and be a part of our snail mail episodes. And that phone number is area code 916-345-4744.
Sweet. I like it. We love hearing from you guys. Please call in, leave feedback, leave us a voicemail. We do really enjoy those Friday segments now. We always have, but they're a lot of fun. So call in. We love interacting with you guys. That about does it for Thursday. Jimmy, any final words for everybody out there?
One of our wine fridge shelves broke.
Oh, sad face. And with that, my friends, keep crawling. Got any jokes?
I do.
Do you have any jokes?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Oh, what do you got there, buddy?
This one actually was sent in from Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Why do we got?
And I might have said it before. I don't remember if I have, so I might be repeating myself, but it's a good one. So
okay.
I'm going to say it anyway.
All right.
Did you know in Hawaii you can't laugh loudly?
Well, why?
You can only have aloha.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised they sent that in to you.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that was PC.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do get a lot of people sending me jokes for the podcast, and most of the time I go, yeah, that's really Tyler's kind of style of joke.
Yeah. Raunchy and not appropriate for any settings.
They're great. They're funny, but I can't. Those aren't the ones that I say on the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.